What up, YouTube? How's it going? Today we are going to be talking about the good old boy, Law. Yes. Law again. We like talking about Law. Law is our favorite thing. We're gonna start reviewing other decks on this channel, but we're just gonna stick with the golden oldies and motherfucking trollies, baby. So this video will just go over a budget deck idea for Law, an event build that uses more events than it does characters. This is a bit of a strange build. It's one of my takes on Law. It's pretty fun. I've been enjoying playing Law in OP06. I think that later on, once we get EBO1, Law definitely becomes a lot more playable. But in the meantime, between time, while we're waiting for EBO1, we'll be playing versions of Law that, you know, just kind of sort of really cool, fits the format. Just, yeah, whatever we like. But, as I said before, this is my take on the character. And let's just go ahead and get into the video. This is the Red Purple Law leader. And this is how we play it. And we're going to start off with the new budget card, Raise Max. If you know what Gordon does, he's essentially the same thing as Gordon. He just bottom decks him to go ahead and reduce one of your opponent's creatures by 3,000. The super effective effect really helps you get rid of creatures off board, really helps you go ahead and make sure you're maintaining a good board presence by having him on board. Then we're going to move on to 4 Otama. It is your 2K counter. It also doubles for reducing a creature by 2. I do not have any laws in this deck. Spoiler alert, the 4-cost red laws. I need to go ahead and purchase some of those so I can go ahead and put those in. But those are also a good option for this deck. Actually, really good for this deck. Really helps you to be able to use that minus 2,000 on cards that are 5,000 while establishing a body on board. Only thing I don't like about playing Otama is that it does cost you a 2K out of your hand, which can sometimes hurt, but it's not detrimental, especially if it gets you to your end game, which is reducing a monster low enough so you can bounce it with Law. Moving on, we're running 4 of the new blocker. I'm not sure how you say his name, Shirayui, however you say it. Anyway, running 4 of him. He is a great addition to the new Red Purple Law. His effect is on block. On block and when attacking. This character's base power becomes the same as your opponent's leader until the start of your next turn. So that means that this character will become the same exact as your opponent's leader, no matter what their leader is. He gets the same base power as your leader, whatever your leader is. So whatever their leader is, whatever their leader becomes. So if their leader is a 8K swinger, he comes 8,000 blocker. He's just really good. He's just really good. This is actually a fill-in spot. I'm missing a few cards for this, so I say this is a bit of a budget version of the deck. But this card actually works pretty good. Is Wire. I'll probably be switching out Wire for old boy who boosts himself and swings for 6. Simply because I just want a little bit more aggression in this build, and that card really helps for being much more aggressive. This card really helps for cycling whenever you just have hands that you can't really use too effectively. And there's also a card or an event in here that I'm going to show you a little bit later that works really well with him and cycling out through your deck. But moving on, we have 4 of the Rush Zoro. You want to play 4 Rush Zoro because, again, you want to maximize your swings. You want to maximize the aggression that you're bringing onto your opponent. And Zoro, just like in the other version of Law, helps you keep with that aggression, helps you keep swinging at your opponent, helps you just keep being oppressive to your opponent. And also, he acts as a pseudo blocker. Most of your cards in here are going to act as pseudo blockers. The main difference between this deck now and how it was is that people are going to oftenly now swing into your creatures like they did before. But unlike before, you've actually got a card that helps you maintain your hand size. So even if they are swinging at your creatures, you can still keep cracking back at them because you can keep manifesting more and keep up a good hand size. I am playing the 4-cost Brook, just one of those. This is going to be traded out for the 4-cost Law that reduces by 2 because the on-play effect is just a little bit more handy than the when attacking. And we are reaching a point in One Piece where you want to be playing more on-play cards than you want to play when attacking cards, simply because when attacking cards just have that bit of a delay. And with so much board removal in the game right now, when attacking cards, I'm not saying that they're not good, but they're not as fast as they used to be whenever creatures could stick on board. But this is still a very good creature. If you don't have the Law, this is a good substitute for the Law. I mean, it's not as good, but it is a good substitute if you don't have that card. And if you want to play something else, this guy actually gets the job done pretty good. We're playing 4 of the Reiju. Reiju being the card that really helped Law push into its next level, because with this card, you're able to draw 2 more cards, so you essentially get a +1. Reiju replaces itself by also giving you another card. This really helps in most of your matchups. Try and keep your hand size up, so when you're fighting against opponents that try and keep your hand size down, this really just makes sure that you just never ever are out of cards, and that you just can keep up with your opponent. This deck also does really good into its leader. So the leader Reiju actually does really bad against Law. Law is pretty much an auto win against that deck. So if that deck is floating around and Law is floating around, then that deck will just be shat on every time, because it can't take advantage of its leader ability, because Law is always operating with less Don than their leader. I am playing 3 Beppo. This should be 4, but I can't find my 4th Beppo, so I'm just running the 3 for right now. But 3 Beppo is still really good. Another Dawn Ramper. Go ahead and get you to keeping up your Dawn high, so you can keep using your leader ability. You can keep swinging high with creatures. The version of the deck that I run, it swarms the field with a lot of creatures and just swings a lot of 5s at my opponent, just making sure that they just don't have resources or don't have cards in the hand. And this deck does a really good job of that. Beppo making sure that you stay up on counter and making sure that your opponent can't really keep you down on counter, so that you're always at a high Dawn count. Making sure that you're at a decent Dawn count really helps in this deck. The moment that you start falling below in Dawn is the moment that you're going to find yourself losing. So you always want to make sure that you got cards that can make sure your Dawn always stay up. And speaking of which, that brings us our next 4 costs. One of the greatest cards in the deck is going to be the Sentient Penguin here. This card is so great because it ramps you 2 Dawn. So even when you're at a low Dawn count, this card ensures that you will always have the Dawn that you need for whenever you're using your leader deck. You'll never be without your leader effect as long as you summon this guy underneath leader ability. Because even if you go down to 0 Dawn and you summon him on your next turn, you'll be at 4, so you'll still have the ability to use your leader ability next turn. This guy is just awesome. You should always run him at 4 in the deck. He's also your 2K counter, which is another reason you should always run him at 4 in the deck. And he's just really good for this particular deck. We're running 2 of the Aeon. Now, you run her because of her Dawn Wrapping ability, and also she works really good with your Sentient Penguin. So on the turn that you summon her, you'll ramp 1, and then you go ahead, let's say it's your on turn 2, you'll ramp 1 with her, use her ability to summon out the Sentient Penguin. You'll still be at 4 Dawn, and you'll have 2 creatures on board, and then you still have enough Dawn to where your next turn, if you do have a kid play, you can go ahead and play your kid. This card is just really good in the deck because, again, it is a body, it ramps, and it just keeps up tempo with the deck. Next, we have the 4/4 cost Law. 4/4 cost Law because, again, it's another blocker in the deck. You do run higher blocker counts. You got so many blockers in the deck, which also is what helps the deck function and keep going, is the blockers that it has and the functionality of the blockers in the deck and how they help keep you protected and keep you pushing on for victory. Now, this card right here is really good into, like, your Uda matches. It's really good into your or any match for real, but it can be really good into your Sakazuki matches. Any deck that like tries to keep a lot of cards in hand, this card just makes sure that that's not a thing. You'll find yourself in the right situation because of how aggressive this deck is. Losing 2 cards for your opponent is very bad, because if you throw this down 9 times out of 10, they're going to be losing 2 more cards out of their hand, if not more, depending on your board state, because this deck is just so aggressive that it just comes at your opponent so hard that they might not just have the cards to go ahead and deal with it. I have 3 of the Kid. Again, this is a card that should be at 4, but I only got 3 on me. But this card also really great in the deck. Really helps for keeping your Dawn count up. Makes it so that your leader ability is essentially a -2 instead of a -3, well, which again really helps if you combine him with any of your Dawn Ramping characters. So it makes it with any of your Dawn Ramping characters, it makes it so that your leader ability is essentially minus 1 for free summon. Whenever you got the kid on field and you're using that kid or any of your other Dawn Ramping characters in conjunction with kid. That is all of the characters of the deck. Now we're going to go into the event. As I told you before, this is an event heavy law variant, so we're running a lot of events in here, a lot of events. As you've seen, only a couple of characters in the main deck can reduce, so you actually want to run some events that help you reduce. The event that we're running for that is going to be the 4 of the Fire Fist from OP04, 5. 4 of the Fire Fist from OP05. This card is really, really great. It really helps to facilitate your leader ability. Make sure that with Raise Max, you can't really get rid of 7 costs, because obviously there's 7, that's only going to bring them down to 4. But with this, it makes sure that you can get 7 costs off the board really easy. If you're going against somebody who's using the 8-drop kid, it makes getting rid of 8-drop kid really easy. It's just a really good card, and I recommend it at 4 in the event build because, again, its versatility, its ability to KO creatures is really cool. Its ability to reduce is really, really helpful in the deck. And it's just a very good card. It's just, again, synergizes well with the deck, ensures that you get all the things that you want to get off. And yeah, just a great reducer card. On top of flying reduction, you play 2 Gamma Knife. I was playing more Gamma Knife because Gamma Knife off of trigger is actually pretty nice. Makes it so that you can ramp 1 Dawn. But Gamma Knife's effect is actually pretty insane too. The only reason that I took it down to 2 and instead of running 4 like I was is because while yes, it is good for life, and while yes, it is good for reducing characters, that Dawn minus is heavy. It is extremely heavy. That Dawn minus may not seem like a lot, but when you're going -4 a turn, and if you don't have any rampers in that turn, that's very, very painful. Now, if you do have rampers, then you're just going probably a Dawn -2 instead of a Dawn -4, depending on your board. Like if you have a kid on field, or if you have a Sajin Penguin, or whatever the case may be. But even still, that Dawn minus can be really, really detrimental. It actually could really mess up some of your later plays. So you really want to be mindful and careful about how you use that. But again, it's still a really, really great card because it minuses by 5,000, which is a hefty number to be minusing any creature by. And it allows you to go a little higher in that threshold as to where this Fire Fist says it takes care of anything 7 or lower. Raise Max says he takes care of anything 6 or lower. This says it takes care of anything 8 or lower, which is very, very, very important because there are some matches where that comes up. Then we're running 3 of the When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates. This is just your searcher event. This is a really good event for keeping up tempo in the deck, finding the cards that you need. Come next set, this is going to be even more powerful of a card because it's going to allow you to search the Kid and Killer, which is going to be a really good card for helping you in games, your opponent, and just all around a great card. And for the next 2, we're running 2 of the Rad Beam. Again, this is event heavy build. As you notice, there aren't a lot of 2K counters in this deck. At least in this variant of the deck, there aren't a lot of 2K counters. You can switch these out for creatures or for 2K counters or for something that's a little higher. But again, in the event heavy build, you want to make sure that you have these because it's just something that catches your opponent off guard, and just a really good event. Boosts you by 4. Just a great event. Just a great event for red, and a great event in this deck. You'll find that you'll be down to 2 life really, really fast. So this becomes active really fast, and it's a really, really great card. And the last card, which I also think I should be running 2 of these. I've been test playing this, and I really like it in this deck. And that's going to be Color's Trap. Color's Trap is really good in this deck because if you if you have a wire on field, and I was telling you about this earlier, if you have a wire on field, use this effect, you'll be able to use the wire ability to cycle. And also this has the added effect of resting one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower characters. Now, that may not seem like a lot, and especially since it only boosts by 1,000, But that's pretty freaking useful in this deck because that means that you can boost your, say if they swing in with your 5 straight swing, you can boost your leader by 1,000. If you have a blocker on field, you can go ahead and block. Like one of the things I like to do is use the blocker from before that copies leader ability. And when they swing with leader, you can just go ahead and use this, make it 1,000 over, and go ahead and rest one of their blockers or rest another one of their swingers so that they can't swing that back at you. This is really good in the mirror match because as you can tell, they're just going to summon a bunch of 4s and they're going to swing those 4s at you, and you can go ahead and rest those 4s before they come at you. But yeah, Color Trap in this deck is really good. It's got a really good trigger to Dawn Ramp. So it's never not useful in whatever situation that you find it in. And it's, like I said, just really, really good for making sure that your opponent doesn't have the necessary resources to stop you from pretty much doing whatever it is you feel like. But that is the event build that I've come up with. It's been pretty fun. I went XO. I went 1-2 at locals. I won 2 and I lost my first round, but that's only because I had showed up late. I'm pretty confident that if I would have showed up on time, I would have been able to go undefeated, but it is what it is. This deck is actually pretty fun. It's really good into Reiju. It's really good into Sakazuki. It's more like a 50-50 with Sakazuki. Like I said, you're just gonna demolish Reiju. Yellow can be a bit tough to go up against, but again, you can prosper if you're going against yellow. Geku Moria, as of current, without any of the cards from the next set, is just an issue. It's just a battle for you. You're gonna have a hard time against that deck because it just gets a lot of value from using the trash. I mean, any deck that just utilizes the trash like Black does, it's just going to have advantage. I mean, it's the most advantaging deck in One Piece right now because, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's the first deck to have the mechanic of being able to use the graveyard, and that's just an evolvement of the game, which is, again, why Black is just so powerful right now, because it has the ability to go ahead and dig into the graveyard for its cards and be able to play like that. But, yeah, this is the event-heavy build. This is my Red Purple Law. If you want to go ahead and give it a shot, you can. Like I said, this is a pretty fun deck. I've enjoyed playing it. This isn't like a final build. Again, this is just like a budget build that I had created because I just had these particular cards, and so I just decided I wanted to go ahead and put it together. There are a couple of things that I would, like I say, change about this. This wouldn't be like a finalized version, but it's just like again, the fun version that I play. But yeah, if you like Law and you want to play, this is a nice aggressive deck. And yeah, until next time, thank you guys for watching.